Okay, awesome. Hey, everybody, this is Cleta Colson-Eyre coming to you live on a Sunday night. We started just 1 minute early tonight, and so we are streaming on YouTube, and I know we're going to have a lot of YouTubers out there today. So if you're one of my YouTube gals, I want to make sure you comment because otherwise I don't know, especially if you're in my unit, if you got on or not. So just make a little comment and say, hey, I'm on, and that will be awesome. And then also my Zoom callers, hey, everybody, good to see you all jump in here a little bit early tonight. So we lost an hour. I hate to spring forward. I like the fall back. I'm like, wow, why can't you just leave it the same? But anyway, somehow I made it to church on time this morning. So I did go to bed just a little bit earlier. I'm sure some of you guys did too. But anyway, today is March the 8th, 2020, and it is actually the International Women's International Day of Women. I know I'm not saying that exactly right, but anyway, something to that effect. We're celebrating Women's Day. And so all over the internationally, all women. And so, I always think about Mary Kay Ash when I think about this day. And a few years ago when they started this, we used to have this big makeover day where everybody would just come on and we would just do as many makeovers as we can. I know a lot of Mary Kay people maybe did that this afternoon. And so we're going to do kind of celebrate a day late. We're going to do it tomorrow night. But anyway, I'm so thankful for people like Mary Kay Ash. And I'm thankful for other strong women in my life, like my mother, Barbara Colson, and my grandmother. Her name was Macleta Irene Colson, where I was named from. And then I had another grandmother, Mary Catherine Weisenbaker, who was a Mary Kay consultant back in the 60s. And so I am so grateful for strong women in my life. And I know some of you are too, like me. And, there's been more than just Mary Kay. There's been other women that have influenced you in your life. And then there's, of course, some Mary Kay national sales directors that's influenced me, my top director girlfriends and my sister directors and my consultants. And so I'm thankful for women in general, aren't y'all? Did y'all know that when Jesus died on the cross and then he rose 3 days later, that the first person to see him was a woman? Did y'all know that? Isn't that pretty awesome? We had this church tonight, this place called Georgia Bible Camp. It was all outside, and they talked about the story of Jesus from the day he was born, which was outside in a manger, in a barn, and then all the way through his whole entire life until he rose and went up into the heavens, and all the things that he did outside. And that's how he's coming back. And that's one of the things they mentioned today, was that the first person that saw him was a woman. And I thought, International Women's Day, I think that's pretty awesome. So, Jesus and God both, which are in one, right? They recognize women are very important. And of course, we love our men too. Let's not forget about them. But anyway, on this day, I want to remind a couple of reminders for our Mary Kay girls. Is next Sunday, a week from today, is the last day of the Star Quarter. There are a couple of reasons why you want to be a star consultant. One, of course, is just for the recognition. Number two is for the prize that you're going to get. It's pretty awesome. Number three, if you were a star consultant the first 2 quarters, then you'll be on target for the 4-quarter star to get that another beautiful Kate Spade bag, right? Ted Baker bag, excuse me. I think you're Ted Baker this year. At seminar for 4-quarter stars. So there's lots of reasons, but another one is, did you know that you get a discount for going to seminar? If you are if a star consultant this quarter, you get priority registration, and you can register for $199 instead of $230. So that's a $31 discount. Also, people that go to career conference that register and do not cancel their registration get to go. Directors, I mean, everybody can go, but they get the priority registration for seminar in Dallas. So anyway, it's not too late to be a star consultant. You have 7 full days ahead of you. I've seen people do it. Of course, there'll be new consultants that sign up and say, yeah, I'm going to start with a star order. And that's the smart way to do it. Tonight, I was getting ready we're doing a big Hydra session class tomorrow night. And one of the suggestions, which, I've heard this for 35 years, is to have a roll-up bag for every guest. So tonight, I fixed up 6 roll-up bags They're the $318 roll-up bags that you sell for $249 at the Hydra session. So I just filled them up. They're ready to go. They're in the bag. They're by the door. And I'm so excited to have enough inventory to fill up 6 roll-up bags. So, you know, if you don't have inventory on your shelf, you can't really do that, can you? So that's something to think about. And that might be a time that you might want to just invest in your business so that you can have that product on hand. So tomorrow night when my guests come, I can have that roll-up bag right in front of them and say, you know, just take out what you don't want. And I guarantee you, I'll have some people that go, I need the whole thing. And I'm like, that's what I thought. And you'll be ready to go. It's going to be the easiest close ever, right? Because you're just going to have it right there. So I know a lot of you have looked into the Hydra sessions. I don't know if you've tried it. My best thing would be to tell you is to watch the videos, do it on yourself, get excited about it, and then talk to some of your customers. Today at church, I have a lot of my customers that go to church with me. We all kind of sit in the same area. And I was telling them about it. I'm like, girl, you need it. I go, you're going to love it. I said, bring her. And she's like, what? This other girl, and she doesn't wear all. And I said, you will love it. And so my customer's like, it's a hydrofacial, which I'm like, no, it's a hydra session with Mary Kay. But you know, people will call it what they're gonna call it. Your customers are anyway. But I'm so excited. So then she texts me after. She goes, okay, I'm bringing 2 people. And then I text another girl that I was sitting with. I said, all right. I said, Karen, Gail, and Donnie are coming. And so then she's bringing somebody. So that's 5. And then I got another girl coming. So hopefully I have 6 there. But you know, I made a list on Saturday of 27 people. And I just started texting them and inviting them. And, you know, so, and a lot of them would like to do it. They can't do it tomorrow night. So anyway, said all that to say, why did I say all that? I don't even know. But, about being a star. So, you know, you want to have enough products so that you can do something like that. And you're going to sell more when you have more. So it's pretty cool just to have it and be ready. So tonight, it's funny. There was 3 things I wanted to talk to you about, and I can't decide which ones. So I'm just talk to you about a little of all of them. And since it is International Women's Day, I thought that this is the book that I read from y'all a couple of times ago, and it's called A Dream Continues to Come True. It's 30 Years of Inspiration of Mary Kay. And I got the book when the company was 30 years old. And so, which was in 1993. And so anyway, I want to read you what Mary Kay said was 11. It says that your formula for success. Okay. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about having courage in your business and having the right mindset. That's what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. So I want to give you these 11 things that Mary Kay felt was important enough, Mary Kay Ash, our founder, to put in this book. And I think it's awesome. Okay. So you can jot them down or you can go back and write them down later. Okay. The first one is, it's funny because when I read these, I'm like, yep, I heard her say that. Okay. The first one is business will continue to go where invited and return where appreciated. Business will continue to go where invited and return where appreciated. So remember that with your customers, you know, their business comes where they're invited. And then when you show them appreciation, they're going to come back. How many times have you been somewhere and you're like, I gave them a try and I might give them another try. And then if I have 2 bad experiences, I'm done. Like a nail place. Got my nails done the other day and I love the way they turned out. But honestly, 2 different times when I'm there 3 hours, I don't have 3 hours to get my nails done. That was toes and nails, but still 3 hours is a long time. But anyway, but when someone appreciates you, you go back. All right. So remember that with your customers. Number 2, reputations will continue to be made by many acts and lost by one. Think about that. You know, you can do a lot, but then it only takes one thing to run someone's reputation. So think about how you act with your customers, with your consultants, with your sister consultants, with your sales directors, and don't run it by being stupid one time. Okay. Number 3, people will go on preferring to do business with those who give service. And the chapter in this book that I'm reading this from was on service. And she was just talking about good customer service. Okay. So people will go on preferring to do business with those who give service. Number 5, the extra mile will have no traffic jams. Mary Kay always talked about going the extra mile with someone. In the extra mile, we've talked about this on the Boss Babe calls before, like when you deliver and put a sample in there, like when you have, you make it a little cuter with your delivery. Put it in a paper bag, maybe some tissue, maybe something cute on it, maybe a sticker. Just a little bit extra, just a little bit extra. People love that. People love it. Number 6, performance will continue to outsell promises. Performance will continue to outsell promises. So, Mary Kay used to always say that Mary Kay, the company, tried to under promise and over deliver. So have y'all ever noticed that sometimes when you check out after you place an order with Mary Kay, and it will say they think your order will come in and it'll give a date, and you always get it before that. Have y'all noticed that? Like it used to say like a week, and you're like, you get it in 2 days, but they under promise and over deliver. So guess what? You're always happy. Okay. Number 7, enthusiasm will be as contagious as ever. Enthusiasm. Have you ever been around somebody that's enthusiastic? Like once you're around them, you start getting pumped up yourself. And, I was watching a video of my friend Angela Fry. She's a top director friend, and she's been in the company a long time. She met Mary Kay like me, and she was doing, I don't know if some of y'all are watching the Legacy, she's on the Facebook Legacy page where they're doing a chapter of the Mary Kay book every Wednesday. Anyway, she's just a sweetheart. And she got talking and she started singing the Mary Kay enthusiasm. And I mean, you just can't help but love her. I have another friend of mine, Liz Varan, and she's a little short thing. She has 6 children. She's fixed to qualify for the Super Cadillac Plus. And when I'm around her, I get more enthusiastic because she is so enthusiastic. And so are you that kind of person where when people are around you, they just get pumped up because you're enthusiastic. You're not down in the dumps. Think about that and work on that in your business. Number 8, know-how will surpass guess how. So what does that mean? You want to educate yourself. You want to learn a little bit about what you're trying to do. If you happen to be brand new and you're on this call tonight, one of the best things you can do is take your lookbook, this quarter's lookbook, and actually read the whole entire lookbook. Like read every single thing it says about the products. That's going to be a great way for you just familiarize yourself. Read every single name of every single eyeshadow out loud. Like look at it and read the name. Look at it and read the name. And when all the new eyeshadows came out, I guess it's almost been a year now. I'm like, I don't know about y'all, but it's like 45 new things you had to memorize and all the new cheat colors. But now after doing it, have y'all found like, oh yeah, I mean, like you got it, the names. And when someone tells me, they said, oh, I need some kind of color. I'm like, Mary Kay doesn't sell that. They go, yes, it does. I go, no, it doesn't. I said, now, if you show it to me, I will admit if I'm wrong. I said, but I've been in for 34 years and I know the names of all, like it was like a cologne. I'm like, and unless it was before 1985, they did not sell that. And I cannot even tell you how many times a customer says, look, it says it right here. And I'm like, that is Estee Lauder. Our packages aren't green. And they're like, well, I mean, no. I said, I didn't want to argue with you, but anyway, you know what? Know your products, learn the names of them, understand our process. It's not real difficult, but you do not want to wing it when you can just learn how to do it. And of course, the best way to learn is watch someone else successful doing it, like attend a party of a sister consultant or a director and watch her and learn how she does it. And then of course, the second way is to do it yourself and you're going to learn more. All right. Number 9, trust, not tricks, will make customers loyal. Trust, not tricks, will make customers loyal. I love that. Number 10, quality will be prized as a precious possession. Quality will be prized as a precious possession. When I think about quality, there are times maybe that you have had your products and they are in the back of your car and they've been running around the back of your car for a while and they're not in a place where they've been like banged up. Okay. So like the boxes are jacked up and you're selling these products, someone's paying $35 for something and the box is all bent and it looks like you sat on it. You guys, that's no good. Honestly, it would be better to just take the box out and put it in a cute gift bag, you know. Um, and if you get an order from Mary Kay and it happens to be that the boxes are crushed, you call Mary Kay, they will send you new boxes. Because, and I know people throw away the boxes, but I'm just saying quality makes a difference. When you go buy shoes, if the box is all jacked up, I think, does somebody else have these shoes on? That's what I think. Like if the box looks messed up. So one thing you can count on is Mary Kay has great quality products, don't they? So you want to present them in a great quality way. I'm going to just throw this in here for whoever it may apply to. If you smoke, okay? If you smoke, you may not can smell smoke on yourself, on your clothes, in your house, because you're used to it. And I've talked to people who quit smoking that went back and go, I cannot believe how everything in my house stinks now that I don't smoke. I'm so conscious of it. But anyway, if you smoke, you will want to keep your products of Mary Kay in a closed container, like a bin with a lid, or a cabinet with a door, something so that when you give a person product, it does not smell like smoke. And I don't know if this, I mean, I'm not trying to offend any of you that smoke. Y'all know it's not good for you. I don't have to sit here and talk about that. But if it's a habit and you haven't broke it yet, think about that, because customers do not like it. It's like wearing a shirt that's been used, even though it's brand new, it smells like smoke. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw that in there at no charge tonight. That's not in Mary Kay's notes. Okay, number 11. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Y'all probably heard that 100 times, right? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. I love that. Now, what I want to do is I was looking in my newsletter that I send out, and I use this company, and they usually have some great training in there. And this one was about courage, and I just really like it. And so Mary Kay had a quote on courage, and she said, courage is having the strength and the vision, courage is having the strength and the vision to make a commitment in life, then standing by that commitment simply because you know it's the right decision. When I had the dream to start this company, my children, including Richard, demonstrated the courage to help make my dream come true. And then I was in my daily Bible reading. I've been doing the spiritual journaling that I told you about last week. Well, anyway, 2 of the days from last week, both the verse was be strong and courageous. It's all over the Bible about being strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous, because I think your biggest thing that stops you in Mary Kay is fear. And I think it's fear of rejection, because you're afraid to ask someone for a booking. You're afraid to speak to that girl over there. You're afraid to do a good close. You're afraid to bring roll-up bags for every single person. I mean, and it's just the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of looking stupid, all the stuff that stops us. Am I right? Okay. So this was a little article talking about reaching a dream takes courage. And, when I think about someone taking courage, this is what I think about. This is the thing that came to my mind, is somebody that is a swimmer, a diver. And for the very first time, they're doing the high dive, and they climb. And the lowest they've ever dove is on the bottom, like a diving board right next to the pool. But they climb up 20 feet. And they're standing on the edge of the diving board. And if you're going to do it, you got to jump in. You got to jump in or dive in. How many of y'all, I see a bunch of y'all on here, how many of y'all have ever dove off a high dive? Okay, just raise your hand. Okay, do y'all remember the first time? And we also have this place here near where I live. It's called Blue Springs. And you would climb up this tree. And it's this high tree, and there was a little wooden platform, and I'm not kidding, just like this big. And not everybody would do it, but we would go and we'd float, and then we would stop at this tree, and then the brave would climb way up, and we would just jump off. And you get out there that very first time, and you're like, I don't know that I can do this, but something you just think, and you're like, you just build up that courage. I'm going to do it. and you just jump or you dive. And it's scary. And usually all the way down, you're screaming, right? Well, maybe not diving off that thing, but I also think about this on a roller coaster. If you've never ridden a roller coaster, and then like we did this in Orlando, and then you get on there, I've ridden one before, but you're on that roller coaster and it's going clink, 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 clink. Y'all know? And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I doing this? It's the stupidest thing I've ever done. Who talked me into this mess? And then you get all the way to the top and you're like, here we go. And then of course they want you to hold your hands up and, you know, scream all the whole time. But it just takes courage to do any of that stuff. I zip lined for the first time several years ago. And so, you know, you're standing on a little wooden thing and then you're like, I'm going to die. And so, you know, you're strapped up and then you're like, you got to jump. You cannot go unless you jump. And so all of those little daredevil things, they take courage. I've lived to talk about it, but it also takes courage when you see a good looking woman and you think, I need to go over there and talk to her. And you don't want to feel stupid and you can think of all the reasons why you shouldn't talk to her. And, you know, I want you to think about this next time you see somebody like that. I want you to put yourself in her place. And if someone random came up to you and said, you know what, I just could not help but notice how beautiful your dress, your hair, your makeup. I mean, like you just have it going on. And I just want to come over here and introduce myself and just tell you how cute you look today. Now, if someone came over and told me that, y'all, I'd be on cloud nine for the rest of the night. Would y'all? I don't even care if they're selling vacuum cleaners. It don't matter what they're selling. If someone came over there and told me that, I would be like, well, thank you, girl. You just made my day, right? Who is going to like throw you down on that? Nobody. Not one single woman. We're all the same inside, right? And so next time you see someone that you want to talk to, just think, okay, what if I had $100 and my director said, go over there and give that girl $100? You wouldn't be scared to do that. Why? Because you know who wouldn't want $100, right? So you go, hey, excuse me. I know you might think this is crazy, but my sales director challenged me to come over here and hand you $100 bill. Every single one of you would do that, right? You would not even think about it. But I want you to think about when you go over there and talk to her and hand her your business card or offer her a free sample. I mean, you could be really changing her entire life and her family and her husband and her kids, even her grandkids, you know? So you're handing her way more than $100 bill. You are handing her the opportunity to change her skin, but also change her life because she may join your team. So I just want you to think about that. So I'm going to read you a couple of things. It says, reaching a dream takes courage. It says, courage is admitting that you're afraid and fear directly. Courage is admitting that you're afraid of facing fear directly. It's being strong enough to ask for help and humble enough to accept it. I like that. Courage is standing up for what you believe without worrying about the opinions of others. It's following your heart, living your own life, and settling for nothing less than the best for yourself. You know, this theme of this quarter with the color is called Be a Standout, right? Be a standout, girl. Why fit in when you can stand out? Think about that, okay? Courage is daring to take a first step, a big leap, right? Think about that diving board or a different path. All of you, when you signed your Mary Kay Beauty agreement, honestly, that took courage because I don't know how you felt that night after you did it. Before the kit came and you're like, some of you probably thought, what have I done? And some of you were like, I'm super excited. Like, I just remember thinking, I'm so excited. I'm in business for myself. I can't wait for that kit to get here. It took a whole week. This is back in the, you know, where you didn't get your packages really fast. Oh, well, I did have to mail the agreement. That could have been why. But, you know, I was just so excited to start something new. But did I tell some of my very best friends? And did some of them say, don't talk to me about that Mary Kay thing? Yep, sure did. And they said, I wear cheap makeup and I ain't buying that. It's too expensive. You know, so you do get rejection sometime, right? But it takes courage not to quit. Courage is keeping heart in the face of disappointment and looking at defeat not as an end, but as a new beginning. It's believing that things will ultimately get better even as they get worse. That's hard, isn't it? So like if you've been disappointed and someone, turns you down or cancels on you or postpones and things like that, it is discouraging, but you think, well, you know what? It's okay because every time something ends, that gives you a reason and a way that you can start over, like a new beginning. Courage is being responsible for your own mistakes without placing blames on others. In this day and age, would you guys not agree that everybody blames somebody else for their problems? People do not take responsibility for anything in their whole life. They go all the way back to their great grandma who they didn't even know, you know? Um, so courage is being responsible for your own mistakes without placing blames on others. It's relying not on others for your success, but on your own skills and efforts. Courage is refusing to quit even when you're intimidated by the impossibilities. It's choosing a goal, sticking with it, and finding solutions. Choosing a goal, sticking with it, and finding solutions. And lastly, courage is thinking big, aiming high, and shooting for the stars. It's taking a dream and doing anything, risking everything, and stopping at nothing to make it a reality. And so I was just thinking, in Mary Kay, in her book, she had a lot of little things on courage as well. And I just noted just a couple of them. One of them, she said, is there is one discouraging thing about the rules of success, which I read to you a few minutes ago. There's one discouraging thing about it. They won't work unless you do. I thought that was pretty good. Mary Kay, she was awesome. Okay, here's another one. And this is something that when I played basketball in high school, we would practice, of course, all week. We had practice before school, like we had to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then we would practice after school sometime. We practiced through the summers. We had our own practices we had to do. And then when it came time for the game, we would go out and we would, warm up. And then we go back to the locker room. And our coach he had a folder. It's funny the things you remember, right? He had a folder, and inside were some of our plays, and then there was this poem. And every single ball game before the game, we all had to read this poem aloud together. And every single game. So I'm going to read it to you, and it's in Mary Kay's book, her little thing here. And I know you've heard it, but I just think about that. And I'm telling you, our girls' team in high school was the very first team since the school started that ever won the region and ever went to state. I mean, now they have since then, but we were the very first ones. Like the girls never had a winning season. It was always the boys until this coach believed in us enough and made us think a different way. And so this is the thing that we used to have to read aloud before every ball game. Okay. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with the person's will. It's all in a state of mind. Outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the strongest in the land, but sooner or later, the person who wins is the woman who thinks she can. And we would all, you think about a bunch of little 17, 18, 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. We're sitting around and we all read this poem together. Every single solitary game, you guys. And so we're like, okay, what's our mindset? What is our mindset? Are we going out to win? Are we going out to lose? Do you think you can win? Then you can. Do you think you're going to lose? You might as well not even show up. You might as well not even play ball, right? So in your Mary Kay business, you guys, are you playing to win? Do you think, you know what? I have some goals and I am playing to win. I know I can do it and I'm going to figure out how to do it and I'm going to have the attitude that I can do it. And that just brings me to the last part of the training tonight. And this comes from this book. Jana mentioned it last week. It's from John C. Maxwell, and it's called The Power of Five for Network Marketers. And every single chapter is just golden. And the one that I just read, it's on mindset. And I just thought it was so good. And I'm not going to read the whole chapter to you, but I'm just going to cover just, it's called Developing an Intentional Mindset. And there are a couple of things that he talks about intentional mindset. And I'm going to go over them. I'm going to tell you the 4 things ahead of time. One is I choose to be realistic. The second is I choose to be coachable. Number 3 is I choose to be positive. And number 4 is I choose to be persistent. And then number 5 is I choose to believe in myself and my purpose. And I'm going to talk about the one that says I choose to be realistic. You know how we have always said in Mary Kay, I've always heard this, don't be realistic, be positive. Realism lives in the same house with negativity. And I hear that over and over. But what he's talking about here is being realistic as far as this. He says, think about when you're in a mall and you're lost and you're trying to find, Neiman Marcus. And so you look on the map and it says you are here. It's important to know where you are so that you know how to get what you're looking for, right? And so if you don't even know where you are, you can't get anywhere. But if you find like where you are,
oh crap,
and you're realistic about it, then what you're going to be able to do is you are going to be able to set you out a good plan. For women, there's been a lot of us that have tried to lose weight at one time or the other in our life, right? I know you'll all agree, unless you're just really, really skinny and you just can't even understand what we're talking about. But if you've ever been on a diet, the first thing you have to do is you have to come to the reality of how much do you weigh. It's not fun, and it actually keeps people from starting a diet or going to like Weight Watchers or any of these other things, because you actually have to go and step on those blessed scales, and there's another person that is going to write the number down. This happens every year when you get your physical. Like I got to where I'm like, okay, all right, don't wear boots, don't wear jeans, don't wear heavy jewelry. I'm almost getting naked to stand on the scales, And the girl that's weighing me is probably like, 30 pounds heavier than me. But it's just something to me for women. But that reality of what you weigh, you have to know what you weigh. And then you have to think, how much do I want to lose? And then you got to break it down to the time and set you out a plan of how I'm going to do that. Okay. If you're going to start, maybe you're trying to get out of debt. One of the very first things people will tell you is take a piece of paper out, write down all your bills. Face reality of what you owe. And then you can go and break it down and think, okay, I'm gonna pay off this, and you have a plan of how you're gonna get out of debt. Does that make sense? So with Mary Kay, you have to be realistic and think, where really am I in my business? What is really happening? And then when you set a goal, you have to know the steps from starting right where you are, not where you want to be or where you used to be or where you hope to be, but right where you are. For example, like as a sales director, you might say, okay, here is the reality. I have this many unit members. I want to be a Cadillac director. Most Cadillac directors have this many unit members. How am I going to get from here to here and set you up a plan, right? If you are a consultant and you go, I want to be a DIQ. I want to be a director in qualification, and I want to be a director in qualification by April 1st, so that when I can go into director qualification April 1st, then I could go April, May, June, July 1st, I will be a new sales director. I will go to seminar in Dallas as a sales director, because that was my goal way back on July the 1st, 2019, but I messed around and I haven't done it. So here we go, right? You still have time. Isn't that awesome? So you look and say, how many team members do I have? Okay. How many are active? Write it down. You can't wonder. You can't call your director. You've got to know how to go on In Touch and see how many unit members you have. If you don't know, and see when the last time they ordered, and know exactly how many active team members you have, so that you know how many new team members you have to get in March to have 10 active by the end of March. You have to know what makes people active. At least placing a 225 makes them active, right? And so you got to start there. You just can't say, I'm going to be at DIQ April 1st. And you don't even have a plan. You have no idea how many team members you have. And you have, you don't even know how you're going to get there. I just hope to be one. Hoping that case, it's not going to happen. I hope to win the lottery, but I haven't bought any lottery tickets. So I doubt that's going to happen, right? I don't really have to win the lottery. Okay. So you think, where are you right now? What do you want to be? And what changes do you need to make? And so, realistic thinking gives you credibility. It's a catalyst for change. It brings your dream into reality. And it says many people forget that when you start a business, there's one essential requirement, and that is the 4-letter word, work. Often there's a false expectation that success happens overnight. Millions are made instantly, and it's the furthest from the truth. If you talk to any of the top directors, top nationals in the company, they did not get where they are overnight. They got a kit, and they had to book their perfect start, and they had to do their first party. And that some of their parties they sold nothing, and some of their parties they sold $300, and some of their parties they sold $500. Some of their parties they booked parties from it. Some they did not get a booking. And so you got to know where you start, and you got to be willing to go through that process. And we've talked about that before. The other thing about being realistic, and the next one says, I choose to be coachable. I believe you guys are coachable, or you would not be listening to calls. People that aren't on calls or don't go to meetings, they either believe that they don't need anybody, that they already know what to do, they're smarter than everybody else, and they can do it by themselves. And it's a proven fact that says after taking a class, the average person has 22% increase in performance. That same person who is coached will have an increase of 88%. So even though that you're on these calls, you also need to be communicating with your coach, which is your sales director. Or as a sales director, it will be your national or a mentor. And that's going to give you, look at that 66 more performance by doing that, by being accountable to somebody. I just think that is amazing. It's called being teachable. I choose to be positive. So you have to choose to be realistic, right? But then you also have to choose to be positive. And he says that positive is a mindset that is whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, that's what I'm going to do. And it's funny, when I was reading that, I was thinking about the year that I had my big change in Mary Kay. And it was when I was 49, and I was fixing to turn 49. And I just looked at my life at that time. You know how birthdays do that sometimes. And I thought, you're 48, you're fixing to be 49 years old. Next year, you're going to be 50. What in the world? You're single. At the time I was single. I thought, you're single. You have not won a top director trip. You've been saying you're going to be a national sales director. And what have you done? I mean, and y'all, I was in a pink Cadillac, and it wasn't like I was a loser, but in my mind, the things I had set in my mind that I was going to do, I had just not done. And something happened to me when I don't even know, but I thought, you know what? I tell you what, this year is going to be different. I'm going to do whatever it takes. If I have to do 1,000 parties, that's what I'm going to do. If I have to drive 1,000 miles, that's what I'm going to have to do. If I have to stay up every single night, that's what I'm going to do. If I have to get up really, really early, that's what I'm going to do. And I just thought, whatever it takes, I don't care. I'm willing. And something happened, you guys. It changed everything when I decided. It was the commitment that I'm going to do whatever it takes. And you guys, that is when we broke like $500,000 for the second time after 18 years of not doing it, and then went on to win 7 top director trips in a row. I mean, like, and I tell you what I did is I just got on the phone and I just went back to work, And so this was something that John Maxwell said after he said be coachable. He said also be positive and choose to be persistent. And he said this is something when he was in a slump, and I thought this was so good because he said persistent and commitment are like in the same thing. And he said he found himself kind of pulling back and hesitating on goals because he thought maybe I can't do it, and his commitment wasn't there. And then he said this guy told him that every day for a year to get up and read this to himself every single day. And he said it was called Commitment is the Key by W.H. Murray. And this is what he would read every day. He said, until I'm committed, there's a hesitancy, the chance to draw back. But the moment I definitely commit myself, then God moves also, and a whole stream of events begin to erupt. All manner of unseen incidents, meetings, persons, material assistance, that I never could have dreamed of would come my way, begin to flow toward me the moment I make a commitment. So I want to end with that, because what I was thinking is, sometimes we're hesitant and we're not saying whatever it takes. We're just saying, well, I hope I get some people this month. I hope I get some sales this month. We hope, we wish, we can't, but once we say, okay, all right, I'm drawing a line in the sand, whatever it takes. It's not going to be because I did not work for it. And then what happens is then the Lord will say, you know what? Hey, she's ready now. Let's throw a dog a bone, right? Let's give that girl some people. And all of a sudden, you get an online order. You get someone that from random that texts you that says, I'm interested in the company. You get some things that you're like, I can't believe this happened today. But you know what? You're going to get the blessings because you made the commitment. So I want y'all just to think, there's a lot of stuff I threw out here today, but we started out with some success tools about being courageous, about having the mindset. And, I think all these things go in together with Mary Kay, because there are so many tools on how to actually do a party. And, we've got Boss Babe calls that we've showed how to do parties, how to book and how to sell. But like you guys that are waiting here and thinking, you know what, I do want to be a star consultant. I do want to be a DIQ. I want to be in my red jacket before I go to career conference. You can do that. You can do it, but it's not going to happen by hoping. It's going to happen by reaching out and talking to some people about the business and taking a little bit of courage. And remember what I said, just pretend you're going to go over there and give her $100. And then when you give her, say, you know what, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you an opportunity today to change your skin. And hey, who knows, maybe even change your life. I mean, who cares? Give her, maybe it's just changing her lipstick at first. But you know what? Inside, you know what you're giving her. It's a gift, right? So think about that. Grab a little courage and just say, if I was my director, would I go over there and talk to her? Yes, I would. Or if you go out with another girl, it's easy, because then you go, if you don't talk to her, I'm going to. Well, then you got that. It's like you're on the high dive. You got somebody behind you. You have to jump. You got to do it. So you're not going to die by doing it. And, even if she turns you down, it's okay, because guess what? You're not going to be scared the next time. All right. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. I'm really hoping and praying that you have a great week. We've got 1 week of the double credit March behind us, and we got 3 weeks ahead. So if you have not quite gotten on the board, you still have time. We can't change what you did the first 8 days, but we can make the next 3 weeks something just really, really incredibly awesome. And you can remember this month as that month that you decided that I'm going to do whatever it takes. That's what I'm going to do. And nobody's going to talk you out of it. And it don't matter what anybody says, you're doing it. You got to be that determined. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm going to let some of the directors that are on here, I'm going to unmute them. And if they'd like to just share anything, and then we'll end the call. And thank you, all of you, for all the Zoom gals, and also all of our YouTubers. And hey, for the YouTubers, by the way, or the Zoomers, I'm on Facebook, but I'm out of, like, I got too many. I don't have too many friends, but I don't have any more like you max out at 5,000. So, but all my stuff is public, so you can just follow me. So if you have requested, I think some of you have requested to be my friend. Believe me, it's not because I don't love each and every one of you, but they just won't let you add anymore. So I just want to tell you that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my girl, Sayla Love. Sayla, you're
Hey,
unmuted.
everybody. Can you hear me, Cleta?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, what a great call. Thank you so much for all the information. And what I was thinking about towards the end as you were talking is about whatever it takes. And there have been 2 times in my business that I made a whatever it takes decision. One was after I had been in for a while, and I decided that I wanted to become a star consultant. And I just promised myself that no matter what it took, I would order 600 a month and be a star consultant quarter after quarter, which I have for years now. And then once I started doing the 1800, it became easier to bump it up each quarter and be a higher star. And the other time is after I decided to become a director. And, I just said, whatever it takes, I will become a director. It doesn't matter if it's pretty, if it's ugly, if I am crawling, crying, or if someone is carrying me across the finish line, I will do whatever it takes to become a sales director. And I did. And so thank you for that reminder and that encouragement. What a great call. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Salem. I was with you when you made that decision. And it's funny because I can remember telling Brad, I could just remember saying, oh, she's doing it. I mean, because I've seen Selah, and when Selah really decides, she does it. Like Selah. So, I mean, it's funny. And I think people think about, there's all of you, probably there's been something that you have said, oh no, I'm doing that. And people are like, well, I don't know how, but whenever she's that way, we know it gets done. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Katie, new director, we'll let her chime in.
Hey, ladies. Just like what Selah said, that was an awesome call. Just an awesome call. I was very frantically writing down the 11 tidbits that you shared from that amazing book. I want to share just one of the things that stood out the most to me. Number 7, enthusiasm will be as contagious as ever. I feel like there's days where you just don't want to be enthusiastic, even though you have a million reasons to be, but for whatever reason, if something's going on in your personal life. But I noticed that when I do embrace being enthusiastic about things, people around me are excited. Like whenever previous to becoming a beauty consultant, I was a preschool teacher. And one of the biggest things that they taught us was you got to be excited about it or your kiddos are not going to be excited about it. So whether you're teaching them to go to the bathroom or whether you're telling them they're going to go outside, you got to be excited about it. And so I just feel like in whatever circle we go into, having that enthusiasm about our business and our products. And then I also wanted to share when you were talking about when you brought it back to center, Cleta, and you said, Mary Kay says, but none of this will work unless you do. I remember just a couple months ago when I was wrapping up directorship, and I'm like, we can wish and hope and dream that all these things are going to happen, but none of it's going to happen unless I continue the course, just stay the course. And none of that's changed being a brand new director. It's like, DIQ round 2 or 3 or whatever it is. So just keeping the course. I'm going to keep my head held high, and I'm so excited about double credit. So thank you so much for the call, Cleta.
Thank you. And you're just so smart to do that, because look at me. Like, I've been a director for 30 something years and I'm still making my list. I'm still texting people. Well, we used to call back then, but it's so funny. I have 6 people coming to the meeting tomorrow night, and all of them I actually spoke to. What a concept. So you can talk people. I can talk people into something easier than text people into it. That's what I have found about myself. So I think my new approach is, have you got 5 seconds for me to talk to you? Because then I know I can get them. Right? Because people are like, and one of the things in the book said, know that we live in a no mentality. For most people, the first answer is going to be no. So already know that up front, that the first time you ask, they're going to say no. And then you're still going to keep giving them opportunities to say yes. Even in church, like after church day, this girl says that's going to come. She says, how many people are going to be there? I said, a ton. I said, I hope. Well, she was saying she didn't want a bunch of people there, because I'm like, but I just changed her. I said, a ton, I hope. I said, as a matter of fact, why don't you bring your cousins right there with you? And so then that's when later she texts me and she goes, you need to come with me. But like, you can't text that. Sometimes it's in person and on the phone. So Katie, I'm proud of you. And that's the truth. To build where you are, to double, you have to just say, okay, that was fun. I'm going to redo it, and now I'm actually going to get paid for it. more anyway. So congratulations. Okay, Laree, let's get you next. Hang on. Laree.
Hey, I got it.
Okay, thank you.
Me?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really, really great tips. And I can remember, years ago when I first got in, we would do that chant, act enthusiastic and you'll be enthusiastic, and we'd get faster and faster. And kind of like Katie said, sometimes we have to speak it into existence. This morning in church, our pastor talked about temptation and avoiding temptation. And um, the way I kind of applied that to myself is the temptation to be fearful, or the temptation to be doubting ourselves or whatever, or being insecure about walking up and talking to somebody. And those are temptations as well for our business. And I think the only way to really overcome that is through that self-talk, because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And those affirmations and those things that we have to talk ourselves up to either be enthusiastic or to be positive, and just to have a fearless mindset. We have control over all of those. And you were a very good reminder to me, because I'm like, I'm 48. I'm going to be 49 in 2 months. And I'm like, I've got to get busy. I've got to do the things that I know I want to do with my business, and get my unit up to where I want it to be in that Cadillac, and to achieve the things. And everybody's busy, and everybody's got life happening all around. And for me, this year 2020 has been a whirlwind. My planning for my daughter's wedding, doing the wedding, and then I just got back from vacation with a wonderful week with my husband celebrating our anniversary. And I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to get to work. So just got a lot of things to accomplish between now and the end of June. And these are great, great tips to really just jump in and get busy.
All right, girl. That's funny that you're at that age that I was when I made the big decision. And you know what it is? I just can remember sitting in my house by myself, and I thought, all right, it's time to get serious. And then I would say to myself, nobody's really seen you work like you can work. You got this, and like, I would do like a little pump myself up that you got this. And like, when you work, nobody can stop you, and I would say these things to myself. And what happened is then because of course everybody's like, man, you got so lucky. Yeah, I sure did. Lucky because we started working, right?
That's right. And one of the things, I had a consultant over here. I was working with her one day, and there was a TED talk on a power pose. And we literally stood in my office and did like a Superman pose. And we were talking, and it's like, it's amazing how much better you feel when you just take a power pose. And, we have to tell ourselves that we are powerful, godly, efficient, effective people, women of God that attract people to us. And so getting up and saying those affirmations in the morning, and kind of like before the basketball game you were talking about, I'm like, I know that makes such a difference, and I've got to just be consistent with that. And I just want to challenge everybody on the call, do some affirmations tonight before you go to bed, and just make a commitment that you're going to tell yourself those things in the mirror every morning this week. And let's talk about it next week and see what kind of progress we made.
That's right. Amen. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's see. Rosie, I think she's driving, but Rosie, do you want to chime in here? She may not can. Rosie, I've unmuted you, but you might be on mute with yourself. Okay, I think she can't do it. All right, well, you guys, listen, thank y'all for calling in. For my YouTubers over here. Oh, lots of YouTubers. I'm so excited. Look at all these girls. I'm just going to give them a shout out. Tina, Shannon, Ariba. That's a nice name. Lucinda, Goldie, Shannon. I mean, there's a bunch of them on here, and they're all kind of things. Thank y'all so much. I love it. And Tina Crowder, is she one of your girls? Larry, she's saying, hey, Larry. Anyway, thank you guys for coming in on Zoom and on YouTube, and we'll get this posted out to everybody. And you guys have a great, great week. We're going to make this week count, because it is important to be a star. Stars drive cars. You won't find a director yet who doesn't do star. So if you're a consultant thinking I want to be a director, you got to bump up your sales to get that star going. So there's lots of different scripts you can send out. There's lots of different things you can do. Matter of fact, if you want to go to my YouTube, there's a place that it was about last quarter, and we talked about 18 or 20 different ways to be a star. So instead of repeating it, and you can go to Facebook and probably just look on Facebook and put how to be a star, or ask your director to send you some tips. Okay. So you guys, I know you can do it. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next week as you're already finished with your star by the time we talk next week, right? Yes. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Let me stop my little YouTube over here.